am your host, Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe that everybody has intuition. So on tonight's episode, first of all, I have to start us up over on Instagram for my Instagram viewers. But tonight's episode, we were talking about the pagan Wiccan Sabbath of Bealtaine. That is going to how I'm going to pronounce it, but it is spelled a little bit differently. And I wanted to be able to not butcher the Gaelic language that the Gaelic language or the original Irish language that the word comes from. So I'll keep on referring to it as Bealtaine, but it's spelled just a little bit differently. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. That is tonight's topic. But of course, as always, we start off the episode with the astrology from Teresa Reid's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. Then we'll tackle the topic. Don't mind the sidebar over here. I've got to adjust it or take it down because we're talking about Bealtaine tonight, not the card a day challenge. That was 2 weeks ago. And then, as always, we end the episode with the weekend forecast, which is me pulling either a tarot card or an oracle card to get you through the weekend. So if this sounds good to you, let me know in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear it because yes, you can always tune into the replay, and replays are available on both YouTube and Facebook Watch, and over on IGTV. When I think to start the episode, let me make sure to start it over there right now. But it's always more fun to attend live. I don't know. The energy is just different. You can ask any questions that you might have about the topic in real time so that I can answer you on the broadcast. And if you have a question, don't think about it as like a stupid question. Maybe other people have that same question if they're tuning into the replay, and it would benefit them or future viewers for you to ask that question. So, I see who's here. I've got my phone is like literally right here. So I'm like having to peek around to see everybody's chats. So let me say hello to Katie and say hello to Melissa as well. That is something that I wanted to mention, that a new episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast dropped today, as what Melissa calls space math, which I really, really love. But we talk about astrology and the connection between astrology and tarot, and how Jamie and I use astrology in our tarot practices. So yeah, space math, right? Let me start up over on Instagram. Otherwise, I am going to forget, and then that will be a shame for my Instagrammers. All right, let's see here. Ooh, that is like extremely close up. I'm trying not to hunch over. All right, let's see if I can spell Bealtaine correctly on Insta as well. B-A-L-T. I think it's B-E-A-L-T-A-I-N-E. Let us hope. Okay, good. All right. I will do introductions again. Sorry to bore those of you tuning in for Facebook and YouTube, but I forgot to start up on Instagram at the same time. I'm a little bit scattered today, folks. It's been a kind of weird day, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the astro-weather from Teresa Reid, because I've been looking at the astrology for this week, and like some of the days where it's been relatively quiet have been days where it's been really terrible, and other days where it's been really, really terrible astrologically, it's been super, super terrible. So it's been a great week, folks. But today in particular, we're going to be talking about Mars in Cancer and what that means. So thank goodness for Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. I'll talk about that a little bit later on once we've taken care of the particulars. Highly, highly recommend it. And this is the reason why, because if you don't know the astrology, what you don't know can sometimes hurt you, right? So I like to check the astrology every day and see what I might be in store for, much in the same way that you would pull a tarot card of the day every day to see what you might be in store for. So I'm going to say hello to Fenrir Sun Eater, who has joined us over on Instagram. Hello, hello. So yes, introductions again. I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everybody has intuition. Now that everyone's caught up, that tonight's episode is about Bealtaine. So we'll talk about what that means, what that Sabbath means, when it occurs during the year, what is the significance of it, what's a maypole, what's that for, and not only the generalities of Bealtaine, but also how I personally celebrate Bealtaine with my coven and the greater pagan community. Usually what we do, and I'll get into this a little bit later on, is we attend the Breed's Closet Bealtaine Festival that's held on the grounds of Palaya Winery in Highland Mills, New York. And that happens usually the first weekend in May. Now, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I believe they canceled last year and they have already canceled this year. I don't believe it's happening this year either, which makes total sense. I mean, it is an outdoor gathering, but it is still a gathering. So it makes a lot of sense. But Bealtaine and that festival holds a really big portion of my heart because it was there where we decided, my fiance at the time and I looked around, and we had been engaged for at least 2, if not 3 years at that point. And he looked around and he said, wow, I really like it here. It's really beautiful. And he was just like, I could picture our wedding being here. And I was just like, sold, let's go, let's plan it. So that ended up being where we got married. So it holds a really special place in my heart. And it also is pretty fitting, knowing the topic of Bealtaine or what Bealtaine signifies. It seemed a little bit harmonious, synchronicity, as it were, divine timing rather than my own timing. So it was absolutely perfect. So Bealtaine is something that I really hold close to my heart. So let me check in on everything. So we said hello to Katie. Melissa's here as well. Katie is saying hi. Hi back. Yes. I don't know if did we name the episode that? So if you're tuning in, just to let you know, there is a new episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast talking about astrology. And when Melissa listened to the episode, she was just like, Sonova doesn't do space math. So that just cracked us up. You have a way with words, Melissa. Katie says, lucky you got the other fire goddesses to do it for you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and also it makes sense. And maybe, you know, in the future, if we have a topic that like one of us doesn't know quite as much as the other two, maybe that's an episode that 2 of us will record and the other one sits out. I mean, you know, we're pretty flexible people. So it just so happened that why not record that episode, especially when Melissa's taking a break, and just do an episode that does not interest her and she does not work with astrology. And you know, I think Melissa has a little bit more astrology than she likes to admit. I'm just gonna say it. So Dina is here and Lisa is here. So hello, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. Greetings and salutations. So this episode, and I'm probably going to call on Lisa a little bit more to talk about her practices with Bealtaine as well, because Lisa is also one of my coven family too. So when I speak about the Bealtaine Festival, you know, I've been with her at the Bealtaine Festival. So definitely, and even if you don't interact with me in real life and you have your own Bealtaine traditions and foods and drinks and different practices, please put that into the chat. Let us all know, because maybe we want to try out some new things. Maybe we want to add to our practices come May 1st. So hello, Shannonigans. I like your name. So let me fix the overlay while I'm sitting here talking, because we're not talking about the card of the day challenge today. We are talking about Bealtaine. So let me do it live on here. I did change up the overlay a little bit, but I did a floating overlay. I'll show you guys what it looks like. But I realized I didn't place it correctly. So you can see why now. So I think I need to update it over to the other side of the screen so that it's placed a little bit better, because unfortunately my phone is blocking out my beautiful portrait as me as the Page of Wands that Lucy Morningstar did for an upcoming tarot deck. So instead of seeing that, you're seeing the backside of my phone because Instagram is over here on the screen. So I tried. I tried to be fancy there. So let me scooch over the overlay to the other side and see if I can do it really quick. Canva is not cooperating with me though. And then we'll move on to the astro-weather. But I am going to keep this episode down to an hour. And the reason I'm saying this is because it will become clear when we talk about the astrology. It is not a good day astrologically because of Mars in Cancer, and we'll get into the details of that in a second. So let me tighten this overlay a little bit. No, yes. I'm gonna move that over. Have it not be as floaty. All right, that's saved. Download that. Let's see what's going on here. See, it's over my, I have to go like this, and then people over on Instagram can't see me. I will figure these out eventually. Lisa says, also very much one of my favorite things. I would assume the Breed's Closet Bealtaine Festival. I look forward to it every year. Miss it so much. I know, right? And that at that time, like that festival is really wonderful. Not only because of sorry, my face. My face. Lisa says, I also miss their wine and mead. Yes, wonderful. I am like an expert in Palaya's wine and mead and everything else, because that was the wine and mead that was served at my wedding. So I got to pick out all of that. So it's going to make me sound a little bit like an alcoholic, but I'm not. That was before they did their rebranding of their bottles too. So some of their bottles look a little bit different now, their labels. And there's been some new wines that they've come out with since our wedding. Like we had Pearl Power during our wedding, and we actually did a sharing of the wine ceremony within our wedding ceremony, where we had two separate cups and we joined them together, and then we sipped from the chalice. So it was really nice, and it was something that I saw at another wedding that I wanted to incorporate in our wedding, especially since we were having it at a winery. It just made a lot of sense. So we had the Pearl Power, and we also served the Pearl Power, which is a beautiful white wine, at our wedding. And their meat is really, really awesome too. Warm mead is a good thing. Oh, warm mead is a good thing. I like it cold, but you know, mead at any time is a good time. Yeah, yeah. There's pictures. We have pictures. I just haven't gotten a chance to do our wedding album. Yes, over 5 years later, we finally cobbled them together, and we just have to, you know, put it into that album. It's all digital. You know, that's the problem, right? Sometimes with it being digital, like I can access it right now, but I don't have like the hard copy like on our coffee table. So sometimes you just forget about it. I kind of feel bad about it, but also I'm not going to put pressure on myself either. No, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on a second here. Oh, I saved that as PDF. Darn it. I swear we're going to be starting shortly. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in the pretties that I don't focus on the actual content sometimes, which is a failing on my part. But we are in tourist season now, so I don't feel quite as bad about it. All right, there we go. Transparent background. That'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right, now I can add it. This should work. Yes, perfect. So you're going to see a little bit of my phone. There we go. So we've got the agenda going on here, and I do have the AstroBiz Digest right now. So really, oh, okay. So Katie says in winter, warm mead gets right down into the bones. Usually I'll do like a mulled cider or a mulled wine instead. That warms you right up. Yeah, I would probably do a mulled cider or mulled like red wine instead. And by the way, folks, if you're seeing spammers in the chat soliciting your business for readings, please report them. I would appreciate it. Because you know that's just really bad. By the way, drinking myself some beer. That is my hydration for now. It's just like such bad form to come onto somebody's like weekly show and promote your own business. It's like really tacky, isn't it? So Lisa says, my ex-husband used to do mulled wine every year. And I'm sure he had like the cloves and the spices and like, I know we're supposed to be into the spring mentality. And actually, it's a really beautiful day outside and the weather warmed up finally. I know we had like snow in some parts of the country in the United States. And it's been really crazy weather, and it's been like super, super cold. The radiators started pumping out heat again the other night, and so we had to sleep with the window open, and then it was too cold. Just ridiculous. But it's starting to be spring again. So yeah, Lisa says, I have a box of mulling spices as tea packets, but I haven't used them yet. Well, maybe you want to turn your hand to that so that you have that going for when it turns colder in the autumn. Okay. Let us see here. So I wanted to shout out the AstroBiz Digest before we get started. The AstroBiz Digest is the subscription service that I subscribe to from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, which is wonderful. And I'm going to hide it now that the link propagated, but you can go ahead and find it here if you want to purchase your own copy. It's $99 for the year. It is so reasonable. And those of you on Instagram, I'm just going to quickly tell you, it's thetarotlady.com. / astro-biz-digest. You can find all the information for it there. You get monthly updates, you get weekly updates, and then you have astrology for every single day. It is geared towards entrepreneurs, but I found it very, very helpful in my own personal life and planning my own personal stuff. So can't recommend it highly enough. And I always start out all of the weekly episodes with the astro weather from Teresa Reed for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I don't do more than that because I don't want to take away from her business. So if it sounds good to you, definitely subscribe, get yourself a copy of this. It goes right to your email inbox on every Sunday. And so you can plan for the week ahead. And that's what I've been doing lately too. I've been blocking off my Sundays for scheduling my clients, for looking at the appointments set up for the next week, and also for my own self-care and my connection to my deities and my gods and goddesses. So that's my Sunday ritual, was looking at the Astro Biz Digest and putting the notes into my planner, which I have right over here, and being forewarned. Forewarned is forearmed. This is part of the reason why I love the Astro Biz Digest and I like astrology as well as I like tarot. Why would anyone ever get a tarot reading or ever look at their astrology if it's like set in stone? Like, we're constantly changing and we're constantly making decisions all the time. There is such a thing as free will. So that we're constantly changing the future because we're constantly changing the present with every decision that we make. Now, tarot and astrology can help guide us, but it can't make our decisions for us. So it's a little bit of extra knowledge, a little bit of extra information to know, like, okay, this is where you're heading towards. Do you want to head towards this? Is this something that you want? And then if it's not, then you tweak accordingly. So that's my philosophy on both astrology and tarot. So that's why we talk about the Astro Biz Digest and take a look at the at today and the weekend, so you have a little bit more knowledge going into the weekend. All right, that's that. So let us, yes, hold on one second here. Exactly, Katie. As Teresa says, cover your astrology. So you must tune into her triple T in the mornings too. This is what she says all the time. What is it? Tarot transits and tangents. Sometimes the tangents are even more interesting than the transits or the tarot. That's my opinion anyway, because sometimes her tangents really relate to what I'm currently going through too. So yes, cover your astrology for definite. So let us get into the Astro Biz Digest. So I'm going to start off with the big stuff. 3 planets changing signs, Tuesday from hell, tons of aspects. And Tuesday was the Tuesday from hell. Won't talk about it here unless, of course, everyone had a bad Tuesday. Then I can revisit the Tuesday. Monday, both the Sun and Mercury moved into Taurus. So that took the Aries fire down a million notches and makes everything a little bit more slow-mo for a few weeks. Approach tasks with mindfulness, don't need to hurry. If you hurry now, it will lead to mistakes later on. And Taurus also wants consistency. So Mercury remains in Taurus until May 3rd, and Sun hangs in Taurus until May 20th. So today, Friday the 23rd, Mars is in Cancer all the way until June 11th. This is a challenging transit for the red planet. It's like throwing a bucket of water on a fire. Emotions can run wild and interfere with making decisions or taking the right actions. You'll need to keep your feelings in check and set some mighty strong boundaries around clients. The needy types will be knocking on your door constantly if you're not firm. And again, this is definitely an entrepreneurial geared astrology digest, but just take out the business jargon and you will still have good information here. You might have to set boundaries with your family. You might have to set boundaries in your workplace, even if you're not a business owner. You may need to set boundaries with your friends. So just be cautious that emotions are a little bit hyped up right now. Katie said, you led me astray to her. Well, I will take that as a compliment. So that's what's going on for like the overview of what's going on. Now let's get into the details for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So energy shifts dramatically when Mars waltzes into Cancer at 7:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This puts an emotional spin on every business move. Feelings are lit, everyone is easily triggered, and making decisions could carry a risk if you can't separate your emotions from facts. And that's a big problem for super Aries me. Read the info above. I just already did that. Another opposition is happening today too. Later on tonight, actually, a Moon-Neptune opposition at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time creates a flaky vibe. Avoid overindulging in substances and get to bed at a decent hour. Today, Friday, April 23rd, is a power day for Virgo and a weekday for Pisces. And of course, I read this scope already ahead of the broadcast, and I still went for my beer. So I'm capping off my beer consumption at like 2, no more than 2. Moderation is the name of the game, folks. Any questions about Friday before I move on to Saturday and Sunday? No. Okay. Moving on. Saturday and Sunday. Saturday begins on the quiet side with a void of course moon. Take it easy, sleep in, or finish tasks already in motion. The moon will enter Libra at 12:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, putting the focus on relationships all weekend long. Strengthen your partnerships, host meetings, and elevate outreach to attract new folks. Watch out for the Moon-Mars square at 1:19 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. People are cranky, passive-aggressive types are pushing boundaries, and online competition wants to play dirty. So I'll say really quickly here, we did a couple of episodes on boundaries in this particular series of workshops and episodes. So you may want to check that out in the playlists and the archives. So they're definitely there. I think there's at least 2 workshops on boundaries. So you want to check that out. Probably ahead of this weekend. It sounds like boundaries are definitely going to be tested. There's also a new book out called Boundary Boss, and it's by Terry Cole. And I definitely have to get this book because I've been seeing her popping up everywhere to promote her book. And it sounds like exactly the kind of book that I need in my life right now. So that's another suggestion there. That's a suggestion from me, not from Teresa. So Sunday finds Mercury and Venus squared off with Saturn all day, problem child aspects for miscommunications and PR fails. Watch what you say, especially in the public arena. If you step in it, your reputation could take a hit. A bright spot occurs at 9:02 a.m. when the moon trines Saturn, an excellent spot for serious meetings. Just continue to mind your words or listen more than you speak. Mercury will be conjunct Venus at 6:19 p.m. and suddenly words are sweet, all is forgiven, and marketing brings in the bling. Saturday is a power day for Virgo and a weekday for Pisces. Sunday is a power day for Libra and a weekday for Aries. Whew. A lot going on astrologically this weekend and also this week. So I see that I am Mystic Tarot joined over on Instagram. Hello. Does anyone have any particular questions or had any particular difficulties in the past week that you want me to take a look at astrologically? Not me astrologically, but the Astro Biz Digest from Teresa Reed. Just let me know if it was just like, Monday was a little bit difficult, or Wednesday was crazy, or I don't know, Thursday was a little weird. Let me know before we move on to the Bealtaine Workshop portion. And I'm going to hydrate with my beer, but not overindulging. And if everyone says Tuesday, then you're in very good company. And I'd be happy to look at Tuesday for you guys. I'll give it a minute or two before we move on. Yeah, I'm actually just reading it in my head right now, and I'm just like, oof, D. Yeah, Tuesday was really, really bad astrologically. All right, I'll keep that up there while I grab my books for the Bealtaine portion. And I'm also super sitting forward, so I probably should pull in the my computer a little bit. So otherwise, I'm going to kill my back. Let me push the Insta back a little bit. Only because I can't see everyone's comments. That is not a flattering angle. All right. No takers on that. All right, I'm gonna have to move this. Sorry, folks. Right. That's a little bit better, and now I can see pretty much everything. And you can actually see my face poking through a little bit. Hold on. You can't see it on Instagram, but you can definitely see it on Facebook and YouTube. There it is, right there. So there's my portrait as the Page of Wands. You can't see the cheetah, though. There's a little bit of a glare here. So, all right. Put back up this. All right, no takers on the astrology. Final offer. Okay. All right, so we are talking about tonight, and I do want to let you guys know that this is by no means a comprehensive workshop on Bealtaine. There's so much about Bealtaine that you can find. So I just want to give you a nice overview of Bealtaine, of the Sabbath of Bealtaine, when it happens, why it happens, what it means, what's the significance, a couple of different ritual ideas or symbology, or how I personally celebrate Bealtaine, and then leave you to do your own research as your interest leads you. or as time or interest leads you. So if that makes sense to everyone, go ahead and drop it into the chat. And this is definitely a collaborative workshop. I would love to, if you already celebrate Bealtaine personally, or if you celebrate with a coven, or if you celebrate with a public group or a study group, let me know in the chat how you celebrate it. And hello to Jubilee Bean over on Instagram. Hello, wave to you. So really quick, I'm using these two books as reference materials tonight. Craft, How to Be a Modern Witch by Gabriella Herstick. I actually haven't really touched this book as much as I want to. And The Real Witch's Craft by Kate West. By the way, again, there's so much information out there. Do your own research, be guided by your own research and your own interest and synchronicities in your life if you want to find out more about Bealtaine. So first of all, quick overview, quick definition about Bealtaine. And I'm pulling from, and this is part of the Sabbath series that I'm working on for my priestess training. And so I do have my PayPal link in the description for this video if you would like to contribute in any way. I am not going to be receiving money for it. I will be donating to a worthy charity related to my priestess work. So if you would like to contribute in some way, if you find the Sabbath series to be helpful for you, then please go ahead and contribute with money or contribute by sharing this to whoever you think might be interested. So Jubilee Bean says, first time practicing the Wheel of the Year. I'm a godless pagan looking for guidance on how to distinguish from the other spring Sabbats. That's a really good question, Jubilee. So I'm going to try and cover a little bit of it. And if you have more questions, you can feel free to message me. Because I will know the difference between a good question and a spammer. And I'd be happy directing you to different resources as I can. So great question. And hopefully I'll be able to answer a little bit of that. Because it is like, we do have Imbolc, which is another Sabbat. And I did talk about Imbolc Did I do an Imbolc? I don't think I did an Imbolc, or I might have done an Imbolc before really starting the Sabbath series. But I do remember doing an Ostara workshop. So that's, I can't remember when I did that. I think I did that in March. Yeah. So definitely check out the archives over on YouTube or on Facebook, depending on your preference. But it's all there. You can go to my website, www.tarotbyhilary.com, Hilary with one L, and all of my social media is on there, including my YouTube, where I have a playlist of past episodes. So you can check out the Imbolc. I believe I did an Imbolc, or no, I might have done a Yule and I might have done an Ostara. So to me, Imbolc is kind of a winter holiday, but it's also more of the early spring holidays. It's like that first inkling. The Imbolc is when the milk started being produced for the sheep. So that is like a green kind of holiday. It's the light is coming back. It is the earth reawakening from the winter. So to me, that holiday is like a winter into spring kind of holiday. And then Ostara to me is like a first spring. When we get to Bealtaine is almost spring into summer, really. And then the next Sabbath after that is like midsummer. So Letha is not summer, it's midsummer. So it's almost like these Sabbats are in between. They're in between times. They don't really signify the start of the season. They signify like almost the in-betweens of the season. So that, I hope that helps. So Katie says, what I found with the last Sabbath lesson, I found that there were things I did that I didn't even realize were part of the Sabbath practices. I love that, Katie. That's great. So yeah, I mean, some of these Sabbath practices can be very seasonal in nature, but they also can be Sabbath practices, religious practices as well. Awesome. So Jubilee Lee says, yes, thank you. Cool. I keep on getting a network unavailable notification on my phone. So hopefully you can still see me. Just let me know, Instagram, if anything goes in and out. It might be lagging a little bit, and I'm sorry for that if it is. So from The Real Witch's Craft, Magical Techniques and Guidance for a Full Year of Practicing the Craft. So this actually, this book, Jubilee, might help you considering you're practicing the Wheel of the Year and you're a godless pagan, which is totally fine. Like that's your practice. So it's more, I feel like this book would be a good reference point for you because, like, on the very cover, you do have the Wheel of the Year, and almost like this elvish script. So where are we on here? Yes, we're talking about Bealtaine right here. So, yeah, it definitely does look like the ring to rule them all. Sorry. Lord of the Rings nerd over here. Okay, so Bealtaine, 1st of May. Here we have the signs of the onset of summer. So there you go. It's not spring, it's summer, because Ostara is the spring equinox. So the spring equinox is not really the start of spring. It's mid-spring, you know? So Bealtaine, according to Kate West here, here we have the signs of the onset of summer, and this festival was traditionally marked by the blossoming of the hawthorn. This is also a festival where the goddess takes on her robes of the mother and of the marriage of the goddess and the god. So again, if you're a godless pagan, you don't have to ascribe to that. It's more about balance, or balancing masculine and feminine energies. This festival has long been used as the time for hand fasting and for renewal and strengthening of relationships. Use its energies to enhance all ties with loved ones, whether romantic or otherwise. So that is according to The Real Witch's Craft. Not a lot. So, I mean, there is... Ooh. So there is a caveat in here. Even if you do decide to use the Sabbath energies in your magic and spells, it is also worth making a point of using them as times of reflection on the passage of the seasons and on each festival's place in the Wheel of the Year. So you don't have to do any magic or any spells according to the Sabbath. Sometimes it's just a Sabbath to reflect, or to acknowledge the passage of the seasons. Does that make sense to everybody? And please go ahead and drop in the chat any thoughts that are arising from what I'm reading, what I'm talking about here. And this is one of my own hypotheses here. Let me read again from the start of this. Sabbats are seasonal festivals. In early study of the craft, you may be advised that they were times of celebration rather than for working of magic. However, there are strong energies connected to the Sabbats which can be incorporated into spells and magic. Having said that, many witches prefer to keep their Sabbats as times of renewal and reflection, only working magic at them when it is really essential. Sabbats are divided into two groups. Jubilee says, you can't see me nodding. I just realized. Okay, cool. So again, this is probably going to be really, really helpful for you. And this, if you can't purchase this book, there's a lot of really good information online as well about the Wheel of the Year. Just take different resources with a grain of salt. Just because it's online doesn't necessarily mean that it's truthful or well researched. Anyone can pop up a website and pretend to be an expert on something. So, if it doesn't resonate with you, take it with that grain of salt. Some of this is an experiment. It is experimentation and seeing what works best for you. But out of here, it says the Sabbats are divided into two groups: the major Sabbats of Samhain, Imbolc, Bealtaine, and Lunasa, and the minor ones, which are the spring and autumn equinoxes and the winter and summer solstices. So, according to this book, Bealtaine is one of the major Sabbats. The former are linked to the agricultural cycle and would originally have been timed by events in nature. Later, they were assigned dates, but as these were in the old calendar, they would have fallen some 11 days earlier than the ones we now use. The latter are associated with the movements of the Earth around the sun, and whilst they have been given set dates, if you intend to use them for magical purposes, it is better to seek their actual timing in the calendar, in the secular calendar. So actually, this brings up a really good point that I wanted to make, and this is like one of my hypotheses here. So again, grain of salt. This is just my opinion here, but noticing that the former, the major Sabbats, are linked to the agricultural cycle and would originally have been timed by events in nature. It can be hard to navigate Sabbat energy and when the Sabbats are happening and listing them with a spring designation or a winter designation or a summer designation or a fall designation, because unfortunately, we humans kind of mess the world up a little bit. So some of these cycles, agricultural cycles, may be off, not just because it was based upon an agricultural or farmer's almanac kind of calendar, but also because the world is warmer now than it was centuries ago. And the seasons are different now than they were years ago. And now in certain places in the world, we are only getting really two seasons. We're getting winter and we're getting summer. And we're kind of not getting the in-betweens here, the more subtle weather, the more subtle, I guess, transition between the seasons. So that to me is part of the reason why it can be very hard to pinpoint Sabbat energies and the dates and whether or not distinguishing, from other spring Sabbats, as you were saying, Bealtaine is more of an opening to the summer energies rather than the spring. But how will we know that, considering what I was just saying before, where we had snow? And actually, like when I was little, I think it was on my first birthday, there was a big snowstorm, and my birthday is at the beginning of April. So, what's the Vanessa Williams song? Sometimes the snow comes down in June. Hold on a second here. Let me clear my desk of that book. Now we'll go to Craft by Gabriella Herstick. I hope that hypothesis kind of makes sense to everybody. Again, it's just a theory of mine, but we have experienced some of these energies in my own coven, where we do a practice of transprophecy, which is a practice seer takes the chair, as we call it, and brings in the god or goddess. Now, for someone that is like not a godless pagan, this might not work for you. Again, take what works for you, leave the rest. But practice seer would bring in the goddess or the god, and then they would deliver messages. They would embody that energy, that archetype, that god or goddess. And what we would do during our Yuletide festivities is we would almost do this roulette style, where whatever god or goddess wanted to come through was allowed to come through and deliver messages. And so we never knew. We never knew which god or goddess would come through for Yule. But we would have people on hand to be the right-hand person for the person that was taking the chair, to make sure they were checking in on the person, making sure that they were okay, getting them whatever they needed. And, basically making sure that the body was okay, and that the person bringing through this deity was okay. And so for different holidays, it was kind of a given which god or goddess would come through. For example, for Imbolc is tied to Bridget, who is the goddess that I am currently trained to be a priestess for. So Bridget would normally come through at Imbolc because it is her Sabbath. For Letha, Sunna would usually come through, or solar deity would usually come through. That would make sense. For Lunasa, the god Lu would usually come through because, hell, that's in the name. So, but for Yule, it usually was different every single time. And one year, Bridget came through during Yule. So it was almost as if she was coming through a month early, and it was a very warm winter that year. So my hypothesis as to her coming through was because it was too early and the gods and the goddesses were confused, because seasonally everything was so kind of messed up. Does that make sense, everyone? Let me know in the chat, because the chat's kind of like quiet right now, and I'm sure you guys are listening to what I'm saying, but I want to make sure that the feed has not cut out. And I don't know if any of you were present at that particular Yule, but if you were, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. That was kind of a funny situation, because we all looked at each other like, oh shit, mom's here. It was definitely that kind of energy. Like, you could feel the energy rush through, and we were just like, and she was not happy either. Katie says, I think it makes sense. Oh, Zuri's here. Hello, Zuri. Zuri, when's your next live sale? Because, I mean, for regular viewers here, Zuri is awesome, and she is a wonderful purveyor of crystals and beautiful things. And by the way, I have actually one of the things I bought from her to my hand right now, this beautiful rose quartz pendulum. And we are going to be talking about pendulums probably next month as one of the topics. It's gorgeous. It feels so good. So there you go. If you guys want to follow Zuri, you know, just, and if you want to promote your stuff ahead of time, but you're a regular viewer, like, contact me, let me know. Like, I would be happy to promote you, especially if I know you, if I've worked with you before, if we've had some sort of connection. Spamming, no. So, Katie says, the gods are more connected to nature and what's going on. And if Bridget is early, no wonder she is mad, as we are messing up nature. Yes, pretty much. Thank you for summarizing exactly what I was trying to say. So Zuri is saying on Instagram, Yatsuri Shop, and her next live sale is Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So go follow her on Instagram and go attend her live sale, especially if you need crystals, if you need sprays, if you need essential oils, whatever you need, she's got you. And I really love those the sticks, the Palo Santo sticks with the manifestations carved into them. They're really, really cool. I already have like a lot of Palo Santo from you know, a coven sister who basically gets it for us, like comes home with it. So, but yeah, Zuri has a lot of great stuff. Follow her on Instagram, buy her stuff. Yes. The intention Palo Santo sticks. Yeah, they're really awesome. So, and especially follow Zuri if you need stuff for your Bealtaine celebrations. So this is part of the reason why I'm trying to do the Sabbath series at least a week ahead of the Sabbath that I'm talking about, so that you have you have time to prep, or you have information to be able to celebrate that Sabbath if you choose to celebrate that Sabbath. Now, I know that this is a weekly series from a professional tarot reader, but I'm also into other metaphysical and magical topics too, because I am a practicing witch. So I like to vary stuff up. You know, it doesn't have to be about all tarot all the time, but you'll often find a link to tarot in most of the things that I talk about anyway. Like, for example, the Sabbats, the different Sabbats can be a great time for divination, like astrology, like tarot readings, like I Ching, like runes. So keep that in mind on May 1st, when Bealtaine is happening. You may, like, I think one of the practices on Bealtaine, it's more of a traditional practice, is divination to determine who you're going to marry, or who is going to be your romance or your love, because of the topic of Bealtaine is kind of centered on partnerships and centered on strengthening relationships and strengthening partnerships. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but that is one of the traditional practices during Bealtaine, is scrying for your lover, basically, or divining who your lover is going to be. And that happens also around Samhain as well, during Halloween. That's another traditional time to do divination. So Zuri says, oh yes, the fairy fire loose incense is fantastic for Bealtaine too, that I have in my shop. Good to know. Good to know. And I think I need more incense anyway. However, depending on the scent and how strong it is, I might have to get a incense spray instead, because my husband is very sensitive to many of the incenses that I burn. So I have to be careful. So if I don't take you up on that, it's not because I don't want it. It's because I have to be mindful of my sensitively nosed husband. But definitely, if you guys need incense or any other Bealtaine gear, you know where to find Zuri. All right. So from Craft, How to Be a Modern Witch, I really love this cover. It made me think of different crystals and elements and everything. And it's the hardcover version, because I had to get the hardcover version. I think the hardcover version, this particular version, is the UK version of this book, because I was just like, oh, I don't like the American version. I like this version. This one's prettier. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, right? But I am a little judgy. Yeah, Penguin Random House UK. I didn't want the other hardcover. I liked this one better. So, ooh, I don't know if she talks about the Sabbats in here. What Witches Believe, Not Your Grandmother's Grimoire, The ABCs of Crystals and Astrology. Ooh. See, I'm naughty. I should really read this. I have so much reading to do, guys. It's crazy. Oh, here we go. Okay, chapter 1. Ancient witches celebrated the great festivals, equinoxes and solstices, as well as the cross-quarter days between, the same holidays that many witches today celebrate. So, do we have an index here? That would be helpful. Yes, Jubilee Lee says, it's definitely hard to focus on Earth spirituality when one is horribly allergic to the outside. I doubt my Celtic ancestors had allergies. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that. Like, and allergies develop over time too. Like, I never was allergic to anything when I was a kid, except for poison ivy, which is, like, you know, a reasonable thing to be allergic to, but there are some people that are actually immune. I watched one of my friends when I was younger roll around in a patch of poison ivy, and like nothing happened to her. And I'm just like, you are crazy. Meanwhile, I had like a second knee when I got exposed to poison ivy, just the oil, not the leaves. Twice when I was younger, it was like a second knee and it was all over my leg. The second time was in my face, which was right up to my ear, because I had cuddled our dog after he had run through the woods, and so the oils from poison ivy was on his fur, and I went like this, and poison ivy all up in here. Thank you to certain oral steroids for promoting elasticity in my face so that I didn't have permanent facial scars from that. Anyway, let us look for the sabbats. No, I don't think there's an index here for the sabbats, but let's go for chapter 1. Hi, honey.
Hello.
Chapter 1, what witches believe. There's a lot of introductory matter here. But this is actually like, just because, shoot, just skipped over it. Just because this is a pretty cover. And by the way, Jubilee, that's totally fine. One that, I mean, I'm sorry that you're horribly allergic to the outside, but you may want to listen to the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast, because we talk a little bit about that. And one of my co-hosts, Melissa Sinova, she calls her book is Kitchen Table Tarot, and then she also has Kitchen Table Magic. That might be another good resource for you, because with Kitchen Table Magic, she says it's not picnic table magic, it's kitchen table magic for a reason. I don't like the outdoors. And she does have allergies as well. So that might be another great resource for you. Kitchen Table Magic by Melissa Sinova. I'm going to shout her out. I don't know if she's still listening or watching the broadcast right now. There's a ton of great resources. Oh, see, I love Melissa, but I haven't grabbed KTM yet. All right, you'll have to look into that one. But her website is really fantastic too. There's a couple of different spells, I think, that she's already provided on her website as like a teaser to Kitchen Table Magic being released. So you might want to check out the podcast, though. We might have some good information in there besides just quipping about, you know, magic, indoor magic versus outdoor magic. Let's see. Inviting the elements, closing the circle, casting the circle, universal and witches' laws, symbols, so much. Ooh, we should do an episode on altars. Would that sound interesting to people to do? Creating an altar, cleaning an altar, inviting your higher self, decorating your altar, grounding yourself. Let me know. Or you could do it for next month. So, we celebrate the Sabbats as a way to connect with the earth and her changing seasons. We celebrate as our ancestors did, to connect us to the ancient power that comes from living by the cycles of the sun and the moon. Each holiday is celebrated with a corresponding altar and ritual. All suggestions can be adapted. Get creative. The rituals should feel good and personal to you. The wheel of the year is different depending on which hemisphere you live in. So the diagram shows the wheel of the year for the northern hemisphere when summer falls in June and winter in December. So remember, I don't want to forget about our southern hemisphere witches. If you're watching, when I talk about Bealtaine, you're going to be moving to, I believe it would be Samhain. I could be wrong about that. So southern hemisphere witches, please please weigh in. I always mess this up. I believe it's right across from the wheel. So if we're Bealtaine, you guys are Samhain. Because Yule is across from summer solstice. Winter solstice is across from summer solstice. So I believe that's correct. So yeah, Bealtaine, May Day, May 1st. Oh, yep, yes. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to write this down. I don't have a pencil with me here. Hold on a second. Let me. We'll talk about that. Yes. So Katie says exact opposite of northern hemisphere. Okay, so we're Beltane right now, which means that a southern hemisphere witch is now celebrating Samhain around this time of year. So I'm getting yes, that would be fun. Altars, yes. I'm getting a yes, please from Jubilee Lee. Altars, yes. Consecrating an altar to altars episode sounds lovely. All right, I'm typing it. I'm typing it. May episodes. Did I keep with pendulums? I think we're going to do stage cards next month. I think that's what we moved. And I'll put altars in there too, because I think we're doing pendulums next week, if I'm remembering correctly. All right. Cool. So I've written it down. So back to... you've also got really good information here about the myth of the changing seasons. This might, again, be a good resource for you, Jubilee Lee, about the Wheel of the Year and making sense of the Wheel of the Year. However, it is very God and goddess based. So take what works for you, again, leave the rest behind. So the myth of the changing seasons, there's individual stories and myths for each of the festivals, which you may like to research further as you develop your craft. But for here, if you're God and goddess based, the myth of the god and goddess represents and mimics the earth's changing seasons, dying in winter and reborn each spring. Various manifestations that represent the forces at work. So some choose to honor these archetypes as deities. So you can shift the terminology. Instead of it being deity centered, let it be archetype centered instead. They include the Oak King, god of the forest and earth. The Oak King rules the waxing year and defeats the Holly King at the winter solstice. He rules from December, Yule, until June, midsummer. Holly King is a woody version of Santa Claus. The Holly King is the god of the waning year who defeats the Oak King at midsummer. He rules from June to December, so midsummer to Yule. So a lot of these are, used at the solstices. At the solstices, the winter solstice and the summer solstice, where there is that switch over. Mm-hmm. Oh, good. We have an entire section. Awesome. I was hoping for that. So Beltane, it's not necessarily on May 1st again. Yes. So Jubilee Lee says, oh, I like that, archetype centered. Yeah, have it be archetype centered instead of like deity centered. I obviously believe in deities, work with deities because I am in training to become a priestess of the goddess Bridget. However, I know that doesn't work for everybody. I know that not everyone has the same spirituality as I do. And that's fine. That doesn't necessarily, like, I'm changing my mind on a lot of different things. Like, I think that magic can work whether or not you have, whether or not you're deity centered. I just know what works best for me. So, and that's another reason why I would say Kitchen Table Magic is a good book to pick up, because Melissa and I have had those conversations where she's not that, she's not as spellcasting related to deity focused as I am. And that's fine. If that's what works, that's what works for you. So yeah, archetypes instead of deities. So Bealtaine, May Day, 30th of April to the 1st of May. So again, keep in mind that that these dates are not exact sometimes. They're more based on the seasons than actual calendar dates. But it usually falls on May 1st. Dina says, I like a Venus altar as I am a Taurus. So do you do that because you feel that it has a correspondence, or do you do that to balance it? Because Tauruses are very, they're very like sensual. They're very luxurious. They're very like, I mean, that makes total sense to me. So, and I would love to, I think that's going to be a show and tell kind of episode where I'll bring pictures of the altar I have, and also how to clean up your altar too. You know, we talk about like energetic cleansing a lot, but sometimes it is mundane cleaning can help with energetic cleaning. Like a cluttered altar is probably not going to be working as well for you as a clean altar. And I'm saying this from personal experience, and also knowing that my altar is currently full of like incense remains and candle stubs and a bunch of other stuff. So it's just like, this is definitely a lesson in, you know, I make the same mistakes. Right. To honor the goddess. Awesome. Cool. And that's also a great thing to do during Beltane. During one of these Sabbats is refresh your altar or create a new altar to what you're trying to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be a spell, but just setting up an altar may do a lot to help a situation. So May Day, which takes place on May Day Eve and the 1st of May, is the second cross-quarter day of the year, falling between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. The maypole is probably the most famous image of this holiday of fire and fertility, which marks the approach of summer and all the sensuality that the returning sun brings with it. And again, this is from Gabby Herstick. Beltane represents sacred sexuality and the eternal cycle of sacrifice and birth needed for the continuation of life. At Beltane, the ancient Celts honored Bel, the god of light and fire, which represents the deity that impregnates the Great Mother. The Celts would celebrate by lighting bell fires or bonfires to mark the return of light to the world, a practice that has continued today. And I've been rewatching Once Upon a Time. So if you're familiar with the character of Balefire, that's the root. That's the root of that character's name and the root of that word. May Day is a day to reassess how and why we light our flame. What turns your heart on? How about your body and soul? What is it that you'd like to continue manifesting this season? This is a day for passion, growth, and love of any and all kinds. It doesn't have to be just romantic. So Jubilee Lee has to go, and you're welcome. You're welcome. And this will be available on IGTV if you want to revisit the episode. And I have a ton of other workshops too. Just check out my YouTube and my Facebook if you want. Nice to meet you. I'm glad that it helped. All right, so there's suggestions on how to decorate your altar. There's non-ritual ways to celebrate as well. There's a suggested ritual in here. Ooh, I like that suggested ritual. All right, I'll give you a synopsis. So decorating your altar with flowers of all kinds, flower crowns and colorful ribbons, sprigs of rosemary, motherwort, and marigold, the Lover's Tarot card as well. See, I told you it was going to come back to tarot at some point. Non-ritual ways to celebrate is spending time outside, having a bonfire, making and wearing a flower crown, leaving offerings of milk, honey, or fruit for the fairies, making love, divination, picking flowers or fruit. See, so again, some of the things that I already described are popping up in the recommended reading too. So there's suggested ritual, a rose quartz self-love ritual. We've talked a little bit about self-love and self-care on a previous episode that was requested. So you may want to revisit that episode and do some of those practices to honor Bealtaine. So that's something to keep in mind. Palo Santo sage. And also, it's not completely in here, but I think Bealtaine is another. Here's my. Oh, I found a bookmark. Awesome. Going to bookmark that. I think that Bealtaine can also be a wonderful time to revisit your beauty routines, or what makes you feel good physically, mentally, emotionally. And now I'm starting to realize that some of the things that I was doing lately is almost in preparation for Bealtaine. I decided to for those of you who follow me, I've been doing a makeup subscription and getting more into makeup. And I just decided, like, this week, it's been in the works for a while, but I wanted to make my bedside table a vanity and have some of my makeup nicely displayed, some of my perfumes displayed. I got myself a makeup mirror that's nice. And though it's something that, can be considered expensive or frivolous, it's something that made me happy. And it's something that I think actually corresponds pretty well to what we're talking about with Bealtaine, especially in the context of relationships and partnerships, because the greatest partnership that you can possibly have is with yourself. And so when we talk about those kinds of practices to deepening our relationships, we need to also deepen our relationship with ourselves. Because if you don't love yourself and you don't take care of yourself, how the hell are you going to find somebody else that will love you and take care of you? It has to start with you. Like, that's the big secret, and it's no magic bullet either. It's very, very hard. It's just like it's a kind of ground up, inside out kind of process. We got to start from within. We got to start with ourselves. Make sense to everybody? So yeah, I've been working on my vanity, and I've got a couple of things in, and I can show you guys on another episode. But it's not like that very root of the word vanity. It's not frivolous, and it's not surface. It's honoring yourself and honoring that you're worth that, and that that love has to come from within before you can really give it outward. I pulled this too, and this is another thing that I wanted to highlight here. I don't know if Lori has any candles up, but this I didn't remember until right before we went live. So I grabbed this right away. I was first introduced to Bedazzled Witchery and her wonderful candles at the Bealtaine Festival that I was speaking about before, the Breed's Closet Bealtaine Festival. So she came out with a wonderful line based on Practical Magic, on the movie Practical Magic. This one is Ames Veritas, which is for love. So this is goldenrod to dream of your future lover, pumpkin pecan pancakes, rose petals, lavender dusted with love spell, powdered incense, and sprinkled with stars, embedded with a rose quartz and a quartz point. So there's the top. It smells so good, guys. So good. Like, you really get the scent of the pumpkin pecan. But This would be, I mean, if you wanted to do spell work, again, sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes the energy is potent enough. And by the way, this is the reason why if you're seeing the sparkles on my face, it's because I cleared my hands are covered in sparkles now. I took the sparkles off my hands and put them on my face. Ugh, the glitter, it's everywhere. This is part of the reason why I wanted to shout that out as well. It's a good time for love magic. It's a good time for sex magic, if that's something that you want to work on, but you don't have to. There's no specific spell. There's no specific ritual in order to honor this holiday. It's just what makes sense and what works for you. Oh, sure. Yes. Oh, hold on a second here. Katie said, pretty pumpkin and pecan smell would make me hungry. Yeah, it is a little bit difficult. And I have a stack, I have a section next to my altar of bedazzled witchery candles. Is bad, but good. So, Jenny Wright Reese says, could you say the name of the candle maker again, please? Absolutely. Her name is Lori, and the name of her company is Bedazzled Witchery, and you can find her on Etsy. It's etsy.com/shop/bedazzled witchery. They're wonderful, wonderful candles. She's amazing. So good. And I'm going to get glitter everywhere, and that's okay. I'll have to tell her later. But yeah, glitter on my keyboard. Cool. All right. Let me pull it up for you. See, it comes up right away because I'm so obsessed. So she does small releases. So I do want to let you guys know that, like, currently, if nothing's listed for sale right now, it's because, you know, she does smaller batches and she does releases as she creates stuff. So right now there's nothing listed, but you do want to follow her on Instagram. Again, it's Bedazzled Witchery. It's going to be the same thing. Hold on. I will type it into the chat here. And I believe it's just at Bedazzled Witchery on Instagram too. And become as obsessed as I am. Oh, good. Jamie's here. Jamie says Bedazzled Witchery is amazing. And here's the link right here, etsy.com shop Bedazzled Witchery. And then it would be the same handle for Instagram at Bedazzled, the at symbol Bedazzled Witchery. And some of these, like, it's just so good, so powerful. And I have different recommendations too of the different candles. You're not going to get everything all at one time because it's small batches, but like the small batches, it was what makes it so good. So check out her Instagram feed because she's always adding more stuff. And I believe the next round that she's adding is, I think, Psychedelic Spring. I might be wrong about that. I swear I have glitter all over my keyboard right now. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh, perfect. So guys, this is really exciting. So this is like in great keeping with what I'm talking about Bealtaine. So Bedazzled Witchery is going to be releasing a self-love candle, making a comeback in limited quantity on May 1st, on or around May 1st. Ooh, guys. All right. I'm super excited here. Magpie. I'm just gonna send that link so you guys can see. So go to that link. That's the announcement about the self-love candle. And Jamie is saying it's my own damn fault for touching glitter items. I know it's my fault. And now my husband's gonna stay the hell away from me because he's gonna be like, why are you covered in glitter? What? No, get that away from me. So But some of the candles that I've gotten recently from her, he and mentioning my husband, his favorite candle is the Crown of Success candle that she makes. It's another orange candle, but it is wonderful for any job work, any promotion work, any of this that kind of stuff. And they smell so good, and they're really like motivating as well. I'm telling them about the Crown of Success candle from Bedazzled Witchery, your favorite. Yes, yeah. So Jamie said I got one of the small self-love candles, and OMG, it smelled so good. And it's just like we're not. So I'm not trying to shoot hot air up your butts. When I recommend something, it's because I buy that thing. It's because I believe in that thing. This is from 15 years of independent retail experience, where I was a buyer and a manager for my friend's store. And we only stocked what we believed in, that we loved the story, we loved the branding, we loved the person that made it. And this is from pottery to jewelry to tarot card decks to pens to pottery, to furniture, to greeting cards, So if I recommend something on this broadcast, especially if it's an occult item, a mystical item, candle, perfume, it's because I'm not just an influencer or whatever. I'm not being paid to say this. And if I ever am paid to say something or referring something or got something as a review, like I'm always transparent about saying that, because like, sure, pay me to support you if I really believe in your product. That would be perfect. So, but yeah. The self-love candle is making a comeback on May 1st, which I think is really, really perfect, considering we just talked about all of that stuff for Bealtaine and kind of what Bealtaine is about. I believe psychic cauldron candles with violet, purple, lavender, mugwort. Oh, that's going to be good, guys. That's going to be real good. All right. We've got to wrap up. I'll be Magpie. I will be Magpie all the time. All right. I'm just covered in glitter, guys. I'm probably going to have glitter in my beer. That's where we're at. All right. So Bealtaine, some of the my own traditions, my own celebrations for Bealtaine, making it personal before we move on to the weekend forecast. And again, this is a great time to share your own practices about what you do during Bealtaine, how you celebrate Bealtaine. Did mention the Bealtaine festival that I usually attend. Yeah, Jamie says, okay, that psychic candle sounds amazing. So yeah, like there's links here. There's a ton of links, but just go to Bedazzled Witchery's Instagram page. You'll see all of it and get excited. Get excited, because I'm super excited now about that May 1st drop. Jamie, I start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Final question. What are you doing for Bealtaine? Exactly. Trying to get there. So what I'm doing for Bealtaine this year, because we don't have the festival to go to, my own coven is making plans. I believe we have an upcoming Zoom meeting on the pink full moon on Monday to discuss our plans for Bealtaine, which is the weekend after. We may be meeting in person, outdoors, safety wise, all of that kind of stuff. I still have yet to get my first vaccination, which is scheduled. I had to reschedule it because I was in quarantine for a little while because of exposure, but we're fine. Just to let everybody know, we're fine. No symptoms, no anything. We are okay. Quarantine is over, and I was able to reschedule my appointments. But as for me, I'm trying to keep myself isolated until I've got my double vaccination, until everything's really copacetic, giving it time, giving it space, you know. So it's going to be a probably very quiet, different celebration for Bealtaine this year for me. Probably, not to get vulgar, but sex. Bealtaine is very good for that. Reconnection with my husband, making sure that my relationships are deeper and that I'm putting them first, instead of letting frivolous things get to me. It's going to be a very almost practical, in nature Bealtaine, really, because it's going to be me taking my relationships and putting them front and center. And also self-love as well. Yeah, for definite. I do have definitely probably using my rose quartz pendulum for a little bit. I might be brainstorming different offerings that I might be doing in honor of Bealtaine, or a different type of specialty reading. I don't know. I really don't know what my Bealtaine is going to look like. Besides, I know that it's going to be much quieter. Maybe I'll look into doing a smaller, almost tabletop version of a maypole. And remember that the maypole is a manifesting tool. It doesn't have to be about the penis and the vag. It doesn't have to be the staff and the hole. It can be more about marrying masculine and feminine energies, even within yourself. So don't feel like, you know, it's just like Bealtaine's just a straight person's holiday, or I can't relate to it because, you know, I'm not presenting myself that way. It's more about everyone has masculine and feminine energies to some degree, and we just need to find that balance. Again, this is one of the holidays that is about balance as well. It doesn't have to be just about relationships. It doesn't have to be just about sex. It can also be putting those bonfires towards manifestation and lighting those bonfires, lighting that fire within yourself. What lights you? What fans your flame, as Gabby Herstick says in her book, Craft. Dina says, had second one yesterday, very tired. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm still going to get it. I think a lot of people have been experiencing that the second one's the doozy, but got to get my first one first. Jamie says, I will do a Bealtaine tarot spread, and thank goddess you were out of quarantine. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm pretty happy about it too. Self-love. Yep. Long snuggle with Kendra, I hope. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so I mean, nothing big, nothing fancy, but you know, sometimes even those kind of bright, big holidays, big Sabbats that we normally like gather together, and it's like a big hoofaroo. It doesn't have to be that, and sometimes the quiets and the reflective has its place. Yeah. Lisa says, second shot totally wiped me out. Still absolutely worth it. Another thought that I had about Bealtaine is that whole festival really is about relationships and different types of relationships. Like, I have met so many people through that festival, and that's a different form of relationship. Again, doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. But that festival also made me so happy because I would teach at that festival too. I would teach tarot. I would teach using tarot for spell work, because there was different workshops that would be on the grounds and the tents and everything. And that festival was also a time where my now husband surprised me for the first time, knowing that I was teaching at that festival, and he showed up, and I wasn't expecting him. So, and that was one of the first times I was teaching at that festival. So that was like wonderful. And then just having that connection with him, each year, going to that festival in different ways or going together to that festival and then deciding that that's where we were going to get married. Like now, anytime we would go to the festival, I would teach, we would take a break. And then in between, when I was teaching, or if I was teaching 2 classes, or if I had to attend another class, we would walk over to the tree that we were married under. And then we would go to the tasting room and we would see, you know, the staff that was there the day that we got married and that we worked with, because, you know, they all know us there because they know that we got married there. So it's almost like this like family away from family. So again, relationships. That's Bealtaine. You can definitely see all the glitter on all of my face. Jamie says, I can't tell if the symptoms are from my second shot or allergies or chronic pain. That's a fun game to play. Is it allergies? Is it chronic pain? Or is it my side effects of the vaccination? Behind this door, behind this curtain, prize number 1. All right. Any other feedback, ways that you celebrate Bealtaine before we move into the weekend forecast? And my friends, this is going to be possibly a doozy for you because the Starseed Oracle has been kicking my ass lately. And it's been kicking my clients' ass lately. And I don't know what its problem is. But if you would like an ass kicking from the Starseed Oracle, like now is the time. We're going to move into the weekend forecast. So I'll give it a minute. Any final thoughts from you guys about Bealtaine before we move into the weekend forecast? My plans for this weekend, like right after this, I'm watching the finale of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, I'm that kind of nerd. And I haven't been on Twitter at all today, except to promote the new episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. And then I like got the hell out of there because I do not want spoilers. No spoilers. My priorities are obviously straight here. All right. Get ready, folks. It's happening. So thank you all for a really wonderful, lively discussion about Bealtaine. I really do appreciate it. And I was feeling a little bit down the other week, not just because I was so busy and, you know, kind of burnt out, but also because the last live that we did, we had a bunch of jackasses saying really unkind things about me physically. Bizarre, really, really bizarre. So I'm looking into different options. So if people decide to ruin it for everyone and I have to put these free workshops under a paywall and have you guys pay a nominal fee in order to access them, like I might have to do that. I don't want to do that, but it might keep out the assholes. And I know that there's always going to be assholes, and I can't necessarily prevent that. But, you know, it was like very, very cruel. And this was also the day after my birthday, too. So it was just awful, like really bad timing. So I might take those comments, dress to the nines, and then do a like celebrities read hate tweets about themselves kind of version. Just to get it out of my psyche and get it out of my heart. So, all right, weekend forecast. Interesting. So we are getting the card, A New Earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Holding it up to here. Holding it up to here. And I have my friend messaging me when we're going to watch Mortal Kombat. Yep. Okay. Definitely wrapping up tonight's episode. All right. So A New Earth. Let's go to the companion book. I don't know if it's under A for or... Oh, okay. So this is the very first card of the Starseed Oracle chronologically. So I'm wondering what that means, but we'll find out, right? Don't give up now. You're closer than you think. I know it's hard to hold the frequency of a new age when it feels as if so much is crumbling and so many are losing faith. This is your sign that you're facing the right direction. You have a great gift in being able to see the potential of things before they exist. Tend to the new seeds. Dream them into existence. Don't lose faith now. Keep your focus fixed. Planting new seeds and bringing about a shift of the ages is no mean feat. It requires extreme trust and a radical vision. If you pull this card, it's a reminder to have faith. You choose to be here, to be part of this global shift. Whether you're bringing it about through prayer and meditation or through working on a new project, job, or creation, keep going. It's happening. Don't give up now. The world needs more dreamers like you, more people with hope in their hearts. The road ahead may not be plain sailing. Ushering in a new age in times of change never is. You're being encouraged to remember that what you've been working toward for so long is almost here. Don't question yourself now. Don't waver. Dig your devotion deep. For if you do, in the not too distant future, you'll be able to sit back and watch all that you've so carefully planted and nurtured grow and blossom. It's possible. Keep focusing on your dreams. You're closer than you think. So the inquiry question for this card is, how can you keep holding the vision? So I don't know if that's necessarily a weekend forecast for everyone, but I feel like that was kind of talking to me a little bit about what I was talking about right before I pulled that card. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing these weekly episodes as long as I possibly can and not allow a very small minority to wreck it for everyone. So there you go. Jamie says, Mortal Wombats. Zuri says, I'm obsessed with The Prodigal Son. I'll be watching that tonight. Zuri, we need to get back into that show. It really freaked me out the first couple of episodes. I think maybe only we may have only seen like the first 3 episodes. But like the crime scenes really, like, there's something about them, like, visually got to me. And I was just like, I don't think I can watch this. Like, it's good. The concept is really interesting and good, but it's just like something about it, like, really freaks me out. It gets more fun. Okay, cool. I do like the concept of the show, though. And what's his name? The one who plays the father. I love him. I love that actor, but like he's so good in that he freaks me out too. Wait a minute. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in that? See, this is how far back I am. All right. I'll give it another chance. Okay. So all right. So just a reminder to everyone before we wrap up the broadcast, these episodes happen every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover different topics. We cover metaphysical topics. We cover divination topics. We cover topics that you guys want to hear about. So in this case, the Sabbath series was kind of my idea, but also your idea as well, because you wanted to know about that. So I'm happy to oblige. So every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this is a schedule. Yes, I believe this is the schedule from that hasn't been revised. Let me show the schedule that has been revised. I did update it. I swear. Give me a second to upload it. Yes. Okay. So yes, I did move pendulums back to next month. Oh, so I was wrong. I thought I was doing pendulums next week. No, we're not doing pendulums next week. So we will be doing next week, Friday, April 30th, we will be talking about stage cards and the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. So that is next week's episode. I hope you tune in for that. I would love to see you here live Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me go through my whole spiel here. So, all right, let me take down the agenda. You're going to have to see the back of my phone, or partially the back of my phone. So let me pull this forward a little bit. So Katie's thanking me for the episode. You're very, very welcome. So just to wrap things up, again, a reminder of who I am. My name is Hilary. I'm a professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can totally do so at the website below, tarotbyhilary.com. That is Hilary with one L. If you put in tarot with Hilary or tarot by Hilary with two L's, you're not going to find me. It's a different person entirely. Skype, phone, and email readings are available. And I have a really great online scheduling system. So there's no email back and forth. You can book right now if you want to. Most of the appointments are usually weeknights after 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I would love to service you and, you know, help you with the tarot, whether it's reading the tarot or helping you read the tarot for yourself. Tarot tutoring sessions are also available. So with that, I thank you all for a wonderful episode, and I will catch you again next Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about the stage cards of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. Good night.